Nathan Cleverly versus Sergey Kovelev. Let's get straight into it. Who do I think is going to win the fight? Before I tell you who I think is going to win the fight, I want people to understand one thing. I think fighters, by and large, fight the same way in every fight. You have very few fighters in the world that can adapt their game coming into the real big mega fights. I personally don't think that Nathan Cleverly is one of those guys that can adapt. I think Nathan Cleverly is one of these guys who's done very well with the skills he's got and the talent he has. But unfortunately, he's run into a guy called Sergey Kovelev. Sergey Kovelev is a big punching boxer with good hand speed and an excellent amateur pedigree. To top all of that off, Kovelev knows how to cut the ring down as well. The only two things about Kovelev, there's a question mark is he easy to be outboxed because he sort of plods coming in? And the other question mark is, what's his stamina like after 6 rounds? We haven't had to find that out so far. And I get the funny suspicion in this fight against Nathan Cleverly, we're not going to find that out either. Because, sadly, and I say this, in my opinion, I don't think Nathan Cleverly can box off the back foot long enough without getting into a brawl. I think at home, Nathan Cleverly feels he's got a point to prove. And, with Nathan Cleverly, he is always, he's a crowd favourite. He's a showman in the ring. And he's got lots of balls and he throws lots of punches. Is that the right ingredients for a fight like this? Yes, it makes it a great fight. Don't get me wrong, because Kovalev's going to keep coming forward, and Nathan Cleverly's going to be bringing it. But you've got a guy coming in with a pistol gun throwing punches versus a guy who's got an atomic bomb. That's not good for me. That's not good. And Nathan Cleverly's defense is not where it should be for a world champion. Okay, if you don't have a great defense but you've got an awesome offense, then fantastic. I mean, if you're a big punching guy that can take guys out of one shot, Nathan Cleverly's not that sort of fighter. You couldn't call Roy Jones a great defensive fighter, but what you could say is he's had an awesome offense. Nathan Cleverly doesn't have an awesome offense. He's got an okay offense, and it doesn't pay attention to defense. He's open to the right hand, and as you know, Kovalev has a brilliant right hand, and a good left hook and good straight punches as well. My suggestion to Cleverly for this fight, you've got to give Kovalev lateral movement. You mustn't allow him to set his feet to land his punches. It's as simple as that. The minute you allow him to land punches, you're a goner. And that's as simple as that, because you're not messing around with a guy who takes 5 punches to knock you out. The one shot he lands could knock you out. Many people may look to the fight with Jeff Lacey and Joe Calzaghe and say, wow, this is Cleverly's moment. He is Cleverly's moment. Unfortunately, when Joe Calzaghe fought Jeff Lacey came over here with a lot of hype, and his name was Left Hook Lacey. And Calzaghe's hand speed and movement, and Joe Calzaghe is a guy who's able to adapt, and this is something that we really didn't understand until this fight, really. And really, Joe Calzaghe had shown in previous fight that he could adapt. I said Cleverly I don't think can adapt, and there is one fight in particular I want Nathan Cleverly fans to look at, and this is why I think the fight may end pretty early. He fought a gentleman called Alexei Kuzmansky, and the fight went 4 rounds. Now, for the first 2 rounds or 3 rounds, Cleverly was doing what he was doing, and then Nathan got caught with a shot and for me, significantly stunned Cleverly. Now I would look at that point the tape there, and I would ask the question is, what does Cleverly do when he gets hurt? I'll tell you what he does when he gets hurt. He fires back with punches. And Tell me, what is Cleverly going to do differently in this fight against Kovalev that he didn't do against all the other of his opponents? See, I think fighters fight in similar patterns unless they have that extra gear, they can do something a little different. Yes, he's going to come in the lightest weight he's come in before, and you know he's going to look sharp and he's going to look this. He has to be. Nathan Cleverly has to be sharp. I expect him to put in his best fight ever, but defensive lapses and vulnerabilities to a right hand, and if you're getting rocked by a guy who's ranked 11th by WBO and was a substitute, the question is what happens when Kovalev hits you. Kovalev, I said, is not just a, this guy can bang, he can punch. I mean, I don't want to say he's a legendary puncher yet, but he's knocking out guys who are names. You know, his last fight was an unbeaten fight he knocked out in White. So I don't think this guy, I think this guy is the real deal. I also think that Bernard Hopkins is no mug. If Bernard Hopkins thought he could make an easy payday against Kovalev, with all the backing he's got at the moment, you know, Kovalev's getting with TV deals and stuff, he would have taken it. So Bernard Hopkins said, no, not me. I'm not taking this guy on. So if Bernard Hopkins says, let Cleverly deal with him, you know, that, and for Kovalev, if Kovalev beats Cleverly now, that can only build for a super fight with Hopkins down the road. That's how Hopkins would see it. And if Cleverly is to beat Kovalev, then again, it builds for more money. But for me, that Kuzmansky fight is enough. That says it all for me. So you say, oh, well, Cleverly's improved since then. Has he? I think Cleverly stayed the same. I think he stayed the same. And I used to say there are certain fighters that with a KO waiting to happen to them. And Cleverly's style is one that is a KO waiting to happen. He gets hit way too often, takes way too many chances, which makes him exciting. But I'm afraid to say that come Saturday night, there's going to be a new WBO light heavyweight champion of the world. Cleverly, for me, his only hope is to take this fight late and hope that Kovalev blows himself out. But I think the writing's on the wall. Kovalev by knockout. Inside 6. That's quite harsh. Unless Cleverly can give him lateral movement. Kovalev inside 6. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Don't get me wrong, I like Nathan Cleverly. I think he's good for British boxing. I think it's sad the way that, you know, the British fans have treated Nathan Cleverly. You know, and I don't know why he hasn't really, you know, the fans haven't really embraced Nathan Cleverly. Some people say he should leave Frank Warren. Is Frank Warren the problem? I don't know. But what I do know is that this fight, you know, it's almost put your money where your mouth is for Cleverly. You say you want to fight with big fighters, you're getting your opportunity now. Unfortunately, the big networks are going to see Nathan Cleverly, and they're going to see him getting knocked out by Kovalev, which I think is what the plan is. I really hope Nathan Cleverly does prove me wrong, because he's worked so hard to get to where he's got to, with a lot of criticism, and but you just got to give another man his dues where it is. Listen to me, if Nathan Cleverly somehow finds his way, and it's not unthinkable, if Cleverly finds his way through this fight, he must be given the maximum respect by the British fans, because this guy is well ranked. Bernard Hopkins didn't want to fight him. He's got a good knockout record. He's not been knocking out bums, as people like to say. This guy, for me, is the truth. He's the real deal. But a fight I would like to see is Kovalev against Stevenson. What a shootout that would be. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. By the way, before I finish this prediction, check out Bayloric TV Boxing. That is a channel specifically for people who want to watch my boxing predictions and boxing interviews. Check out my recent interview with Anna Houliton, the female 3-time world champion, who's going to be fighting shortly and is rumoured to be on the undercard of Mayweather Canelo. So don't forget to subscribe. This is Bayloric TV, and I'm out.